Travis went good. So, have had to deal with a number of business crap this morning. So I haven't had an opportunity to shower and shave yet. So, instead of showering and shaving and taking a trip to the grocery store, which is also something I needed to do today, and doesn't look like I'll get to it today, I'll do another video for you. The Book of Mormon, depending on how I'm going to officially word the title of this video, testifies against the LDS Church and Mormons. And Mormons can't defend against it. How do you defend against the Book of Mormon as a Mormon? It silences Mormons immediately. When they think that they're protecting the church, I've always got something to quote from the Book of Mormon or from Joseph Smith that silences Mormons. And you'd think that they'd say, you know what, maybe the church isn't true and it needs to be restored, like Travis is saying. Nope. They just go into silence, run and hide, and attack other people. Or come back and attack me, forgetting who I am. A guy named David did that. He attacked me, I think it was on It's Me, Jessie. I would comment on her videos, giving her support, giving her extra information about Mormonism. And he would come and attack me on her channel comments. He would never attack her directly. And he's one of those trolls who realizes that if you comment on people's comments, the creator doesn't know what you're talking about unless the creator is involved in the conversation. And his big beef was that Joseph Smith's administration is exactly the same as it is now, where the president of the Quorum of the 12 is the one who's supposed to succeed the presidency in the first presidency. He just refused to accept anything else. It was frustrating to him. He would not accept truth. He would not accept real church history. It was the way it is now is the way it was then, and end of story. And he's older than I am. He's like my dad's age. Can't teach an old dog new tricks. That turns out to be true so many times. And I had lost a really awesome date. I guess we were boyfriend and girlfriend. It's a little weird in the Mormon church. It's kind of hard to describe because there are some women who think that by talking with them at church, you are now exclusive. If they see you talking with some other girl, you're cheating on them. Apparently you need sex ed because what the church and the state of Utah are giving you is messing up your brain. God, I don't think I can count the number of women who thought that. And once you get enough women and they start communicating with each other, you're shunned. You have to leave the singles ward because all other women they see you talking with, yeah, they immediately go to them and warn them, oh, he's cheating on us and he's now adding you to his harem. Can I not talk to somebody? No. I saw it at Rick's too. I was a victim of that. But yeah, her name was Kimberly. She lived in the hills of Bountiful in Elder Irene's ward, right next to President Nelson's ward. He was elder then, but they were elders then, not presidents. Well, Irene was president under Hinckley. Yeah. But she broke it off over a dispute of the Book of Mormon meaning of charity. Of all things, she was awesome. And then she ruins it with the Book of Mormon because she didn't understand what was being done to the Book of Mormon. Mormons have created a brand new definition of charity, the pure love of Christ. If you do not understand, in the Greek, there are 3 different words for love: eros, philo, and agape. And there might be some who know of a song, eros and agape, blah, 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 but apparently Mormons haven't made the connection because the church won't give them the connection in the footnotes. Or Mormons refuse to study because the church won't let them study Greek so that they can learn to translate the Bible correctly because the church won't do it. And so the most famous example of why it's important to get the translation correct comes from Jesus talking with Peter. And Jesus would ask, "Peter, do you love me?" Peter responded, "Of course I love you." And then Jesus gives out a sigh and asks it again, "Peter, do you love me?" "You know I love you." "Peter, do you love me?" Then Peter is discouraged. If you do not understand that there are different words for love, you're going to miss out on what it's talking about. And so Jesus is saying, "Do you agape me?" And Peter replies with, "Yes, I philo you." And then the third time Jesus says, "Do you philo me?" And then Peter goes, "Oh, okay." And it's agape that the Book of Mormon is trying to correct by claiming it is the pure love of Christ. And yet Mormons create a higher level. And apparently the Swedes, as I'm in contact with one, has informed me the Swedes have a lesser form of love and than the word for lust, so that they've expanded upon the words to add more loves to their vocabulary, which helps if you understand the differences. But this is a problem of not translating correctly the Bible. And it's not just a matter of identifying the oldest Greek text or the oldest Hebrew text for the Old Testament, because, as I've come to learn, it all originates from the Egyptians. But in dealing with the Christ, Mormons screw that up too. They see Jesus in the Book of Mormon text, and don't have a clue when it says about Lehi testifying to the Jews of their wickedness, and that the things which he saw and heard, and also the things which he read in the book, manifested plainly of the coming of a Messiah. See, Mormons just replace Messiah with Jesus. They have no understanding and comprehension of any other kind of Christ than the Christian one that they've been born and raised to believe in. As Mormons believe they're Christian, and they don't understand why Christians will not accept them, even when they get angry and demand Christians accept them as Christian. That'll convince them that they're Christian. They're not Christian. There's multiple things that are going on in the Book of Mormon that are not understood and not explained because Joseph Smith was assassinated. And yet he tried multiple times to explain it without actually giving away the code. 1838, Joseph Smith came out with the Joseph Smith history. And in that history is the first vision, which was put into our canon of texts. And in that first vision, after the Book of Mormon uses the name Jesus, after he's even used Jesus for other passages in the Doctrine and Covenants before this, he nonetheless says two personages. The one said to the other, speaking of the other, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." And Joseph continues to call him a personage. And Mormons don't catch it. They just assume, oh, well, he's quoting from when John was baptizing Jesus, and the Holy Ghost came, and a dove, and the Father's voice. And so Mormons know about section 131, where the Father and the Son have a body of flesh and bone as tangible as man's. But how many Mormons are aware of Mosiah chapter 7? Mosiah chapter 7. Should we do 8 and go up? Yes, we should. Alright, so they're talking about a prophet who was murdered by the Nephites, and all because he testified to them about the coming of a Christ. Now, Mormons think this is history, and so they had just put in Jesus because it's history, and it's before Jesus came, and so therefore it's history, and therefore Jesus is real from the Gospels, just like Constantine and Christians believe, from the Nicene Creed, of which the first vision says is an abomination. So verse 27, and because he, the murdered prophet, said unto them that Christ was the God, the Father of all things, and said that he should take upon him the image of man, and it should be the image after which man was created in the beginning. Or in other words, he said that man was created after the image of God, and that God should come down among the children of men and take upon him flesh and blood, and go forth upon the face of the earth. And Mormons will just skip right over that and go, Jesus. Because you do not know the history of the Smiths. The Book of Mormon says it's not just for the Gentiles, but also the Jews, and refers to Mormons as New Israelites, modern day Israelites, descended from the original Israelites, thus New Israelites. What the church will not reveal to Mormons is that Joseph Smith Sr. was a part of the New Israelites in Vermont. And until Justice Winchell showed up, it was all about Jewish mysticism, prophesying, being literal descendants of the house of Israel, and Hebrew as the angelic tongue. And then Justice Winchell came along and taught him how to divine and teach Joseph Jr. how to use a rock and a hat, which they never made money off of it, so why are you still thinking that they were making money off of it? How many months and years of doing this as a profession without getting anything do you think they would be able to survive? People just don't think. Nonetheless, are you familiar with Written by the Finger of God by Joe Samson? His videos have gone silent on YouTube. Was it my fault? I actually praised him in my Amazon review. Or was it because of my email or my website posts before the church destroyed my website, or the YouTube videos? Written by the Finger of God. As I went over that with you with the writing on the wall. Uh-oh. Yeah, it's still out of print. They have a used one and a collectible one for $90. The 7 used are around $60 with the tax that'll have to be added in. But this is actually an essential book if you're going to be an ex-Mormon. If you're a Mormon, nope, stay away from it. Stay away. It'll cause you to learn the truth. And so, yeah, I had to rebuy it on January 20th, 2016. But we'll put in the picture in the title or the thumbnail somehow. See the 116 pages? Everybody's like, oh, who wrote the 116 pages? How was that done? And blah, blah, blah. And everybody's wanting to know what the original 116 pages were. I've already gone over what they were. It was William Morgan. So the 116 pages, Joe Samson gives us the answer, and he didn't realize it because he's a faithful Mormon. Still, to this day, I'm pretty sure. As his book is still there. He's not printing new copies, so it's just those who are trying to get rid of theirs. So, yeah, get it while you can. He teaches you Jewish mysticism that Joseph Smith Sr. learned. and the different techniques. And so when you get to the Book of Mormon, where it says the Jews looked beyond the mark, they sought for things that were complicated rather than sticking to the simple basics, that's what he's referring to. Because Joseph Smith Sr., even though he knew all about Jewish mysticism, understood and realized that it actually was getting a little bit extreme, going off the deep end. And so yes, he was well aware of Lilith. That's from Jewish mysticism, from the alphabet Ben Sira. And so that's why Nathaniel Wood, or Nathan Wood, had for members only. You don't understand, there was a different process for becoming a member of his organization. Senior wanted nothing to do with becoming a member, as illustrated by his not having plural wives, as well as telling us in the Book of Mormon that Jewish mysticism gets a little too complicated. And yet, the basics of Jewish mysticism all over the 116 pages, mingled with York Rites Freemasonry. York Rites, not Scottish Rites. There is the mystic tie, though. And wouldn't you know it, it's at the end of Jacob. If you don't understand this, you miss it. It's the farewell of Jacob. He's referring to the mystic tie. And if you don't know what the mystic tie is, it is a well-known Scottish Rites member, Grand Master or something like that, who gave a farewell address to Scottish Rites Lodge, called the mystic tie, and was given a farewell. And so he says, brethren adieu. And you'll notice that ex-Mormons argue with apologetic Mormons about adieu and whether or not French would have been the proper translation. Cut it out, guys. Cut it out. You have to take in brethren adieu. The whole kit and caboodle. And so, and I, Jacob, saw that I must soon go down to my grave. Wherefore I said unto my son Enos, take these plates. And I told him the things which my brother Nephi had commanded me. And he promised obedience unto the commands. And I make an end of my writing upon these plates, which writing has been small, and to the reader I bid farewell, hoping that the many of my brethren may read my words. And Junior blew it and gave him over to Martin Harris. And so he sent Oliver Cowdery to be reassigned to be the babysitter over at the Whitmer home. And so yeah, if you didn't know, for the Jews, even in Jewish mysticism, the Christ is known as a mortal man, who will be born of mortal parents in the future, for the latter days. And with the Knights Templar, you have the same legend, that a descendant of King David, thus through Solomon, Solomon and Solomon's temple, and the bloodline, or the Holy Grail, as it's also referred to, if you take out the French. What is your quest? What is your favorite color? I'm not dead yet. But Moses is the Christ. The Christ. That's why it's called the 5 books of Moses. And guess what? They talk about him here. The 5 books of Moses. And Moses, and the Exodus, and the house of Israel. And yet Mormons, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. So frustrating. How do you break through the wall? It's just another brick in the wall. Kudos for those of you who know that that's from Pink Floyd. So yeah, I just gave you another decoding that no one else knows. You know, there's some people who go, oh, mystic tie. You know, there's at least one ex-Mormon I've seen who knows that much, but they don't know how to decode it. Because what does Jacob mean in Hebrew? Usurper. And how is William Morgan a usurper? He usurped the plot to destroy America from the Scottish Rites Freemasons. The original founder of Scottish Rites is a myth of the man named Jacobite. Everything for you guys. But yeah, this is Joseph Smith history right here. When you know the real Joseph Smith history, you now can read the Book of Mormon and go, oh, that's the 116 pages. And Joseph did what to them? Oh, now I understand. It's not the Lord who's pissed with Joseph. It's Brother Nephi, Senior. Oh, hilarious.